The ocean has always been my sanctuary, a place where I could escape the chaos of life on land and find peace in the silent depths. But there's one dive I'll never forget, one that still haunts me to this day. It started like any other expedition. My team and I were tasked with exploring an uncharted trench off the coast of a remote island. The area was rumoured to be littered with ancient shipwrecks, a treasure trove for historians and adventurers alike. Little did we know, we were about to uncover something far more sinister. Our team consisted of seasoned professionals. Sarah, our marine biologist, Jake, our tech specialist, and me, the expedition leader. We had all the latest equipment and years of experience under our belts. We were confident, maybe even a bit overconfident. The descent into the trench was smooth at first. The water was clear and visibility was excellent. We saw the first shipwreck around 100 meters down. It was an old merchant ship, its wooden hull eerily intact despite the centuries it had spent underwater. We marveled at its preservation, not knowing it was only the beginning. As we descended further, the water grew darker and colder. Our lights barely penetrated the inky blackness. It was around 300 meters that we saw the first signs of something unusual. The wrecks were more frequent and more varied: pirate ships, merchant vessels, even a submarine. Sarah was the first to notice the carvings. Strange symbols etched into the wood and metal of the shipwrecks. They were unlike any writing we had seen before, more like ancient runes than anything else. She took photos, planning to analyze them later. Jake's voice crackled over the comms, breaking the silence. "Guys, you need to see this." We swam over to where he was hovering near a particularly large ship. It was a galleon, its mast snapped in half. But what caught our attention was the figurehead. It was a grotesque carving of a sea demon, its eyes hollow and menacing. Jake shone his light over it, revealing more of those strange symbols. "It's like a warning," he said, a hint of unease in his voice. "But what are they warning us about?" The deeper we went, the more oppressive the atmosphere became. The water felt thicker, and an unnatural silence surrounded us. It was as if the ocean itself was holding its breath. Our comms began to crackle with static, and our lights flickered intermittently. Around 500 meters, we found the trench's edge. It dropped off into an abyss so dark it seemed to swallow the light. Against my better judgment, we decided to continue. Our curiosity overpowered our fear, a decision I would later regret. The trench was unlike anything we had ever seen. The walls were covered in those same symbols, glowing faintly in the dark. The temperature dropped sharply, and we felt a strange pressure, like a weight on our chests. Sarah theorized it was some kind of geothermal anomaly. As we moved deeper, we began to see movement out of the corners of our eyes. Shadows darting just beyond our lights. At first, we dismissed it as fish or debris, but the shapes were too large, too deliberate. Then came the voices. Faint whispers carried by the currents. They were unintelligible, but there was an undeniable malice in them. We tried to maintain communication, but the static grew worse and we started losing contact with the surface. It was Jake who first suggested turning back. "This place gives me the creeps," he admitted. But we were so close. The bottom of the trench was just a few 100 meters away, and we had come too far to leave empty-handed. We pressed on, each meter feeling like an eternity. The symbols grew more frequent and more intricate, covering every surface. The whispers grew louder, more insistent. It felt like we were being watched, followed. Finally, we reached the bottom. The sight that greeted us was beyond anything we could have imagined. The shipwrecks were piled on top of each other, a graveyard of vessels from every era. And in the center, a massive stone structure, ancient and foreboding. It was a temple, or something like it. Massive stone pillars rose from the seabed, covered in the same glowing symbols. The entrance was a gaping maw, dark and uninviting. We hesitated, but curiosity won again. We had to know what was inside. The interior was even more unsettling. The walls were covered in carvings, depicting scenes of torment and sacrifice. At the center of the chamber stood an altar, and on it, a strange artifact, a black orb, pulsating with an eerie light. Sarah reached for it, her curiosity overcoming her fear. The moment her fingers touched the orb, the entire structure seemed to come alive. The symbols flared brightly, and the whispers turned into screams. We tried to retreat, but the exit was blocked by an unseen force. The water around us churned violently, and the shadows coalesced into tangible forms, twisted, malevolent beings that seemed to be made of the very darkness itself. Panic set in as the creatures attacked. We fought back, but our efforts were futile. Jake was the first to be taken, dragged into the darkness by a tendril of shadow. His screams echoed in our ears as we struggled to escape. Sarah and I managed to reach the entrance, but the force holding us back was too strong. The creatures closed in, their forms shifting and writhing. I felt a sharp pain as one of them latched onto my leg, its touch like ice. In our final moments, I activated my emergency beacon, sending one last transmission to the surface. "We're under attack. Unseen forces. Can't escape. Send help." The static drowned out my words as the creatures overwhelmed us. The last thing I remember is Sarah's terrified eyes as she was pulled into the darkness. Then everything went black. When I woke up, I was alone, drifting near the trench's edge. The beacon had done its job. Rescue teams found me hours later. They never found Sarah or Jake. The official report listed them as lost at sea, victims of an underwater collapse. But I know the truth. I saw the terror in their eyes, felt the malevolent presence that still haunts my dreams. The trench was declared off-limits, a danger zone. The shipwrecks were left undisturbed, the ancient secrets they held buried in the deep. But I can't forget. The whispers still echo in my mind, a constant reminder of the horror we unleashed. I've tried to move on, but the nightmares won't let me. I see the creatures in every shadow, hear the whispers in every silence. The ocean, once my sanctuary, has become my prison. I've shared my story with a few close friends, but they all think it's just trauma talking. They don't believe in the supernatural, in ancient curses or malevolent spirits. But I know what I saw, what I felt. I've spent countless hours researching the symbols, trying to decipher their meaning. They seem to be some kind of warning, a barrier meant to keep something contained. But we broke that barrier, and now the evil is free. I often wonder what would have happened if we had turned back when Jake suggested it. Would my friends still be alive? Would the whispers still haunt me? It's a question I'll never have the answer to. Their ocean holds many mysteries, some better left undiscovered. We were driven by curiosity, by the thrill of the unknown. But some secrets are meant to stay buried, and we paid the price for our arrogance. I've considered returning to the trench, to face the demons that haunt me. But every time I get close, the fear paralyzes me. I can't go back there, not after what happened. It's a scar that will never heal. I've lost so much because of that dive, my friends, my peace, my love for the ocean. The only thing I have left is this story, a warning to others who might be tempted by the mysteries of the deep. If you ever find yourself near that trench, heed my warning. Stay away. The shipwrecks are a graveyard, and the spirits that guard them are not merciful. They are the keepers of ancient secrets, and they will not let intruders go unpunished. I've reached out to other divers, shared my experience, hoping to find someone who understands. But most dismiss it as a hallucination, a side effect of deep-sea pressure. Only a few believe me, those who have encountered the unexplainable. The ocean is vast and mysterious, and we are but tiny specks in its depths. There are things down there we cannot comprehend, forces beyond our understanding. We must respect the unknown, or suffer the consequences. My story is a testament to the dangers of curiosity. We sought knowledge, but what we found was far more than we bargained for. The ocean is a place of beauty and wonder, but it is also a place of darkness and terror. I no longer dive. The memories are too painful, the fear too overwhelming. But I remain connected to the sea, watching from the shore, listening to the waves. The whispers are still there, a constant reminder of the price we paid. If you've listened this far, I thank you. My story is not just a tale of horror, but a cautionary reminder. Some mysteries are meant to stay hidden, some secrets left undiscovered. The ocean's depths hold many wonders, but also many dangers. So next time you venture into the deep, remember my story. Be cautious, be respectful, and above all, be aware of the darkness that lurks below. The sea may seem inviting, but its true nature is far more sinister than you can imagine.